Welcome back to Millers in Motion. Have I got a funny story for you? But let's start by saying welcome back. Today in this video what we're doing is we're going through the Ring alarm setup. We purchased a Ring alarm and set it up. So this is the second time I'm shooting this intro. I went back to review the footage after I've been working for about the last 4.5 hours on the video and installing the actual unit. And turns out, for some reason, my camera decided to record to my second memory card slot, which doesn't have a fast enough card in it to write the quality we shoot in. So all this pretty imagery you see is because of that, and because it wasn't able to write as fast, it corrupted the file. So at some point I turned the camera off, turned it back on, and it fixed itself. But because of that, I unfortunately lost my entire intro. So here we go again. So today we are installing the Ring alarm system. We bought the 5-piece base unit. That includes the base unit, a wireless keypad, a motion sensor, a sensor extender, as well as a contact sensor, like a door sensor. In addition to that, we bought 4 outdoor cameras and a couple of free water guards. So the unit comes, we're not sponsored by Ring. We actually chose Ring. It came down between Ring and Simply Safe for us, and because we had experience with Ring and I thought it would be easier to mount the cameras to the side of the rig, we decided to go with Ring. So the first clip you're going to see, we're already starting that setup process. So unboxing everything out, it's pretty simple and cut dry, but we are now going to reverse about 6 hours in time to Ryan when he started unboxing this and it wasn't quite so hot outside. So, to me, 5 hours ago. Install. Go, Ryan. All right. We have the Ring base unit plugged in just right here. And then we are in the app. It says set up a new Ring device. We're going to do that. It's going to ask for Bluetooth. We're going to go ahead and say OK. It's going to ask us what. We're going to click on security. And then it's going to ask us how many Ethernet ports. So if you flip it over, you can see we only have one. So we're going to do one Ethernet port. And it says choose a good spot for your base station. Well, I'll show you where we're going to do it, but for now, we're just going to let it be right here. And we will move it in a little bit because I got to do a little bit of handiwork to put this where I want to put it. And yes, those are baby Crocs. We have 2 close friends of ours are both having kiddos, and one of the guys wears Crocs all the time, so Lauren got his new little girl a pair of Crocs. Oh, and you know what I forgot to do? You got to put it in pairing mode. Alright, now that it's in pairing mode, and I'm actually doing this correctly now, you can see how the LED on this is searching because it's in pairing mode. And now we're connecting. And there we go. So for now we're going to do Wi-Fi. And we're just going to use our in-body Wi-Fi here. And I'm going to do the password. Stand by. Alright, now it is searching for the Wi-Fi, which it'll pick up here in just a second. If you haven't seen our Wi-Fi video on how we installed our PepWave router and our Parsec 7-in-1, definitely go check it up here. It's a special video, but we're going to use some of the tactics that we used in there to install this base unit as well. So once you get it connected, it is going to want to update, so that's what it's doing right now. So while that's updating, I'm going to go ahead and go grab some of the tools so that we can start installing some of these little bits and bobs all around, plus the big install, which is the home base. Most people are just going to stick this on the wall somewhere, and that's perfectly fine. We're going for a better aesthetic because we full-time. So I'm going to actually put it in a cabinet and then run the power cord down so that it always has power as long as we're connected or on inverter. One thing that I also really like that I didn't even know about, it's unplugged, but you can tell it's still glowing. So it has a battery backup inside of it. So we're going to plug it in and permanently leave it, but if for some reason we lose power, it will still continue to monitor, at least to a certain point. Everything else is battery operated already. So this is the only device that's actually going to be fully plugged in all the time. Now where are we going to put that? Well, if you remember from our internet video, behind the TV there's a void, and we put our router down in there. And so there is another outlet down here. So we're gonna open this up. It's kind of hard to see in there, but there you go. So there's our PepWave router. That's just a backup router we keep. There is one other little adapter, or one other little spot there. But again, the void, you can kind of see where it opens up there. And you can see where our cables come in from the antenna we put up on the roof. We are going to drop that power cable right there. So what we're going to have to do is around this corner we have these two cabinets, and then here is our command center, and then up there is a cabinet that we really don't use, to be honest with you. I've already got a sawzall up here, so I'm going to put a little hole that's big enough to fit the adapter in right up there, and then we're going to actually mount it right against that wall right there, and just leave it up in that little cabinet. That way it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. Also, from my research, that base station is where the actual alarm comes from if something gets tripped, and I have heard it is very loud. This thing is meant for a house, and so when you dumb it down to an RV, it's going to get very loud very fast. We do have the pups. You can see Klondike and Bailey here. We do have the pups in here, and we don't want their ears to get just pierced constantly. So I'm hoping that if we do have an issue, that will actually help kind of soften that blow just a little bit to their ears. All right, so I used to have a little 2-inch hole driller, and that's what we put the hole in the roof with earlier. I have no idea where it is. I've looked everywhere for it. So instead, we're going to get creative. So I've got a 1/4-inch regular drill, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 4 holes in the shape of a square, and then I'm going to use a reciprocating saw that I've just had since the house, and it was small enough that I decided to bring it with, and kind of cut that out using that. But this gives me some template. It's ultimately going to go behind the ring. It's ultimately going to go behind this, so you'll never actually see the hole, but I still want it to be as clean as possible. I wish I had that little 2-inch hole driller, but I don't know where it is. So, okay, in retrospect, the reciprocating saw might not have been the best idea in the world, but I worked with what I had, so let's show you what I did. So again, not the prettiest. We had a little bit of pullage here, and that was with a wood, supposedly, a wood cutting blade, but it achieved the goal. We have opening into the void. So what I'm going to do now is drop that down, make sure it gets all the way to that power jack, or that 110 spot, and get this thing plugged in and then mounted the rest of the way. All right, excuse the cell phone light, but just like before, it dropped down almost perfectly. So that's the crazy part to me, is that this thing just works. This void area, oh, that's a little tight right there. I probably need to get something to fix that. But this void area here is absolutely amazing if you're trying to do additions for your rig, because it just allows you to drop stuff down right behind it. You can tell there's a lot of sawdust and stuff down here now. So that's all stuff that I'm going to have to clean up here in a second. That's just from the backside. So anyway, all right, and there she is, mounted and done. So let that be for a little bit. Make sure when you're mounting that to push down on it for a little bit, get some pressure so it really gets stuck on there. But other than that, that's about it for the base unit. So now let's go fire up everything else and start installing, well, everything. One little note, the AC kicked back on, I got hot. So sorry if there's AC noise in the background, but it is about 105 here in Texas today. So yeah, I had it off at first, but it's needed to fire back up. All right, so the keypad, while it charges, I actually put the mounting plate right here. So this is the front door, if you can see. So this is the hinge side of the door. This is the side that swings the most. The keypad's gonna be right here next to the door. Again, just use that 3M tape, and that's gonna hold it on really, really nicely. The cool thing about a lot of this ring stuff is you can tell there's a mounting plate. So when you need to charge up the device itself, which is supposed to last for months, is what my understanding, you can just take the keypad out and plug it in. So let's get that connected next. Okay, as far as the keypad goes, that's about it. So whenever it's installed and working, it's gonna sit right there. And that's it. So, you know, I'm gonna have to learn how to actually use everything. As far as home, away, all that stuff. This is for the monitoring things, and then this is where we would type in our number, which we don't obviously use 1, 2, 3, 4. So now for the sensor. All right, now for the contact sensor. This actually already has adhesive on the back, it looks like, but it's hard to see, but there's a little tab right here, you're going to actually pull that, if I can do it one-handed. Okay, there we go. So it's going to start blinking. You can see that because we bought this in a box, it's already, and now it's added tap here to finish setting up. And then it's a let's set up our contact sensor. So we're going to hit continue. We're going to call it a main door. We'll call it the living room. Give a name, so we'll just call it front door. For installing the contacts, choose a side without hinges. Continue. Continue. And then you want to be, you know, about an inch max to an inch and a half as far as the dispersion between the two pieces. So this piece is going to go on the wall side, then that's going to physically go on the door. And now you can actually do the mounting process. So let's get to that. Okay, so it is installed right there. And then here it's going to say open and close the door, which I've already done. And it's going to say connection complete. It's done. So if you listen carefully, in fact, I'll open this up. If you listen carefully, you hear the door chime go off. So that's a way for us to know if the door is open in and out. You can also set up the app to notify you. That seems excessive, so I'm not sure I'm going to do that. But right now we're just going to continue to get stuff up. The only things left inside the motion sensor, which we're not going to install today, and then the extender, which is pretty simple. I might go ahead and use the extender and just put it in the kitchen somewhere, because why not? We have it. That's not going to be all that attractive. So let's move on now for us to the outdoor cameras. All right, well that's going to pretty much wrap it up for the install. Our overall thoughts of having the system up just for one day, I really like it. You can set zones for motion detection, so depending on how large or small our campsite, where we happen to be is, we can actually identify it. So I really only have it kind of set a little bit in this area that we're standing now, and then right in front of the rig, and kind of right down the rows of the rig. So if you come up, I'm going to get a notification, and every camera is going to start recording automatically. I love that there's live view. This is actually out of the front of our right now, so you can see me waving at it, if I can actually see that. But overall, I've been super impressed. The installation was pretty easy. It took a little more than I thought it might to do it, and that's my fault more than anybody else's. It's just I want things a certain way, and so I go through a process that I don't like, and then I redo it, and then I redo it again, and then I keep redoing it until I get there. So if you're not as OCD as me, you're going to be just fine. It's really easy install, especially if you don't, you know, bury wires and all that. I was standing still, and that's the motion notification that I'm outside, and you can silence that. You can do all kinds of stuff with the system, but ultimately what this leaves us, that's going to get annoying. We're going to have to turn that down. Ultimately what this leaves us with, though, is a peace of mind when we're not actually here. With the dogs inside and a motion sensor inside and the cameras outside, and being able to see this from anywhere in the world as long as we have an internet connection makes me very, very happy. So if you found this information useful, I'd appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button. If you have questions, please just reach out to us through the comments. You can direct message us over on Instagram or Facebook. We try to respond to everything. And don't forget to get out there and try to experience more. Until then, we will see you next Sunday. Bye, Mom.